Hello, welcome to Cat Mama Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm doing a weekend reading and I'm going to be doing it by sign, timestamps below. Feel free to watch for any placement in your chart or all placements in your chart if you know those. I found that to be really enlightening myself. So we're just going to do 2 cards per sign, quick and dirty, and I'm going to just go for it and dive right in. Apologies if you can hear my washing machine. I'm hoping I can reduce that in the background so you don't hear it. But if you hear something, that's what it is. Well, if you hear something that sounds like that, that's what it is. All right, let's get going. And we are just going to do traditional, starting with the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. How you doing, Aries? Let's see what messages we have for you this weekend. We've got flow, and 6 of Wands. Very nice, Aries. Yeah, so what I'm getting here is that you are being encouraged to essentially kind of surrender to the flow of life, go with the flow of life, see where life takes you. And if you can do that, or the more you can do that, the more you're going to be guided towards success. And success that is recognized by others, because oftentimes the 6 of Wands signifies recognition as well as success. So yeah, so the key guidance here is to go with the flow and to trust that you're being guided to success, Aries. Yeah, that's what I've got for you. All right, Aries, hope you have a great weekend. Taurus. How are you, Taurus? Let's see what messages we've got for you this weekend. Oh. Oop. 2 keep wanting to come out, so perhaps you're focused on 2 things this weekend, Taurus. I'm being called to just pick one, so perhaps that is part of your message here. Okay, let's see what we've got. Healing chaos. And 2 of Swords. So the Healing Chaos card really speaks to how chaotic things can feel sometimes when we're in the process of transforming, of healing, of changing, of growing, of evolving. I mean, what's coming to my mind, which I've used this example before, is like when you think about a teenager going through puberty, right? And how kind of chaotic that is. Just the whole period of puberty can be chaotic in a number of ways. It can be physically chaotic, it can be emotionally chaotic, but ultimately the chaos is leading to growth and development and evolution. And in this case, healing, right? So you're being called to trust, right? Because you've got the 2 of Swords here, right? She's got the blindfold on. But you can see that despite having a blindfold on, she's hitting the mark, right? She's right on track. She's on target. So trust that if you're feeling like things are chaotic. Trust that you are actually healing, that the chaos is supporting your healing, and that even if you don't know where things are taking you or where this chaos is leading, you're being called to trust that you are on track, that you are on target, that things are moving in the direction that they're supposed to be moving for you. Yeah, and you've got spiritual guidance here. You've got the crow, possibly ancestors guiding you, and you've got support. Perhaps you have support of a beloved pet, or it just can be any kind of support. Yeah, that's what I've got for you, Taurus. Hope that was helpful. Have a great weekend. Gemini. How are you doing, Gemini? So what messages we have for you. This weekend. Oh, almost. There we go. Embracing. And Five of Swords. So what I'm getting here, I just love this embracing card. Look how beautiful that is. The way she is able to capture in this painting the reflection of the sunset, or I guess it could be the sunrise. Anyway, you know, she's the heron here, or the egret, is embracing the stillness and the beauty that is in the stillness, which makes me, you know, turn to the Five of Swords here, where there is not that sense of stillness. It's a sense of, well, for me, the Five of Swords is typically inner conflict. It can be the kinds of thoughts that create conflict in our mind, right? Or pain in our mind. It can speak to conflict with others, or kind of, yeah, just, you know, disagreements with others as well. So if either or both of these are happening in your life right now, Gemini, any kind of inner conflict, you know, I'm looking at the one witch with her hands over her eyes, and just the word regret comes to mind, right? So if you have any kind of thoughts, intrusive thoughts that are creating, you know, chaos or conflict in your mind, or you're experiencing conflict with others, you're being encouraged to really try to find a place of calm, right? And that might mean you have to remove yourself from any people who might be, you know, causing conflicts, or where you're experiencing conflict with people. You might want to remove yourself from those people, kind of find some space, some time, maybe go out into nature, maybe get on the water. Because that, by removing yourself either physically from people who you're experiencing conflict with, or removing yourself from your particular context and trying to kind of get into a peaceful state of mind, you know, which sometimes being in a peaceful place can contribute to finding peace within yourself, and especially if it's a beautiful place, right? So really, you know, nature could be just the remedy, and just embracing the stillness, embracing the beauty, and embracing a moment of peace, so that you can allow for this conflict to kind of conflict, so you can deflect the conflict, so you can allow the conflict to kind of dissipate, especially if it's in your mind, right? Yeah, really trying to find some peace of mind this weekend. Okay, well, I have like a little snort. at the end of your reading, Gemini. So, whatever that means. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have a great weekend. Cancer, you're next. What messages do we have for Cancers? Ooh, we start with thriving. And Queen of Pentacles. Beautiful, Cancer. So the first message I'm getting here from this thriving card is that what can support you in feeling that sense of thriving is really seeing the bigger picture, right? Giraffes have a vantage point such that they can really see a lot because of how tall they are, right? They can see far and wide, I'm hearing. And so that is something that is going to contribute to you thriving, is really stepping back and allowing yourself to see the big picture. Another message I'm getting here is uniqueness, right? By really embracing the unique qualities of yourself and your uniqueness, I think is another ingredient in thriving. Additionally, with the Queen of Pentacles here, the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is absolutely thriving. And she is thriving by remaining grounded, right? She's like an earth mama. So she's very connected to the earth and the seasons and the cycles and the animals, the flora, the fauna. So she's very grounded and earthly. She also has tremendous patience. So she really is not in a hurry because she trusts that all is working in her favor. She knows that all is working in her favor and that she can have access to any, well, she can create and have all that she desires. And she does, right? That's just the nature of the Queen of Pentacles. She's also very kind and compassionate. So all of these qualities, by embodying all of these qualities, you are ultimately contributing to your ability to thrive. Oh, that's lovely. All right, Cancer. Hope that was helpful. Have a great weekend. Leos. How you doing, Leos? Let's see what messages we have for you for this weekend. Ooh, we've got purity. And the King of Pentacles. All right. Okay, so as I look at this purity card, the first thing that strikes me is the beautiful eyes, right? And I think this is a wolf. I don't know if this is a quality of wolves where they have two different color eyes. I feel like, don't Australian shepherds have that? I'm not sure. But what I'm getting here is the beauty of purity, right? We also have the pine trees, which also speak to kind of purifying. And the purifying that we're talking about here is of your thoughts, really, right? And being pure of thoughts in the sense that you're not kind of right? There's pristine thoughts, the kinds of thoughts that contribute to your success, the kind of thoughts that lift you up, right? The kinds of thoughts that appreciate the beauty of life. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about purity of mind, right? So by having those kinds of thoughts that ultimately support you and support your success and support your thriving, you actually can embody the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, you can see he has his cake and he eats it too, right? He can have it all, right? So the more we have purity of mind, right, in the sense that we really work on having thoughts that lift us up versus knock us down, thoughts that are accepting and appreciating and loving and graceful and compassionate, right? The more our thoughts are in that vein, the more we can have the life we want. We can build the life we want. We can also, it helps us remain grounded and steady and stable and secure and prosperous and wealthy and surrounded by loyal friends, right? And abundance. So, yeah, that's what you're being called to focus on this weekend, Leos. All right, that's what I've got for you. I hope that was helpful. Have a great weekend. Virgos. Hello, Virgos. Hope you're doing well. Let's see what messages we have for you. Okay. Starting with healing chaos, which I believe the Taurus also got that, your fellow earth sign. So that's interesting. So earth signs having something in common here this weekend. Whoa! Well, there's some chaos. I just threw most of the cards on the floor. But the two that remained, I'm just going to focus on these two since this is what we've got. So we've got healing chaos along with the Eight of Cups and the Hierophant. Okay, so as I was telling the Taurus, and you may want to watch the Taurus reading as well, things may feel chaotic right now, or that you may be experiencing some kind of chaos right now. But you can see that on this tornado funnel, there are butterflies, or can you see that? There you go. And so this chaos is really leading to transformation, to change, to growth, to development. And I was giving the example of puberty as a time of chaos, right? But that ultimately that chaos, that physical and emotional chaos, is really helping one to develop and grow and evolve, right? And grow into themselves, right? And that's what healing does for us. It helps us grow more into ourself, right? And so something that's going to help you with this healing process and to kind of move out of the chaos and, or through the chaos to the healing, is by using confirmation bell from my washing machine. The cycle is over, right? The cycle is over. That's the other message from the washing machine. But you're being called to trust your inner wisdom, to quiet your mind, perhaps to meditate, maybe to go to a yoga class and kind of practice some self-care that's going to help you get into a calm place in your mind so that you can be clear and make the decision to leave behind what's not serving you so that you can heal, right? And so it may, so if you're feeling like things are chaotic and you're just kind of feeling caught up in a storm, it's really important to find some calm, right? Mentally, physically, so that you can actually tune into the inner wisdom of the Hierophant, your inner wisdom based on your experiences, in order to recognize what's not serving you anymore and what's going to ultimately contribute to your healing if you leave it behind, right? All right, that is what I've got for you, Virgo. I hope that's helpful. Have a great weekend. Oh, wait, let me pick up all these cards. There's one way over there. I guess I got to get up. Let's see if maybe I can just lean in. Okay. Libra. How are you doing, Libra? Hope this finds you well. Let's see what messages we got for you this weekend. Let's not throw the cards on the floor again, if possible. Okay. Ooh, we start with opportunity. And strength. All right, well, the first message I'm getting from this opportunity card, it's interesting because it's a crescent moon, and right now we have a crescent moon, right? The moon, we just had a new moon last week, a week ago, I think today, and so it's starting to wax, and it's a waxing crescent, I believe. It might be a little beyond that, but we're in the first quarter after the new moon. So it seems like the opportunity is actually during this time period is what I'm getting, right? So there's some kind of opportunity for you during this time period, during this first quarter, as the moon is reaching its first quarter after the new moon. The other thing I'm getting from this card is that perhaps I think it would be important for you to try to write down or really spend some time when you wake up recalling your dreams, because there might be a message in your dreams that speaks to some kind of opportunity before you. So that's the first message I'm getting. You also have the card of strength, which is beautiful. The strength card is all about self-awareness and kind of mastering the art of self-awareness and self-development, mastering the art of the self. So that requires knowing yourself and all parts of yourself, really. Recognizing the light and the dark, the parts you like and love, and the parts that maybe you wish you weren't part of you. But the bottom line is we all have parts like that. And it's really important for us to recognize and acknowledge those parts and to embrace those parts. The more we can embrace all of ourselves and love and accept all of ourselves, the less the parts that we don't always love, the less they are going to have the opportunity to kind of come out when we don't want them to, right? Or when we don't expect them, not when we don't expect them, but maybe actually. So in other words, if we're trying to suppress or oppress or deny any parts of ourselves, they are going to find ways to come out, and they're going to come out at times when you don't want them to come out, right? The more we can embrace and find understanding for all of ourselves, all parts of ourselves, the more we can work with all parts of ourselves, right? And even actually use those parts that we maybe at one point didn't appreciate, or we're trying to kind of deny or oppress. Maybe we can find value in those parts of ourselves in a new way that we wouldn't have otherwise, right? So by really focusing on recognizing and accepting and loving all of ourselves, all parts of ourselves, right? We have that provides us with new opportunities, right? That we may not have had otherwise. Okay. Yeah, that's what I've got for you, Libra. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have a great weekend. Scorpios. How you doing, Scorpios? Let's see what messages we've got for you. Ooh, pleasure. Such a beautiful card, which I will show you momentarily as soon as we get our tarot card out. All right, there we go. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, well, that's a side message for sure, given what we got going on here. All right, Scorpios. So look at this beautiful card. What I'm getting from this pleasure card is that you're being encouraged to focus on pleasure this weekend, right? To be spending time doing things that you enjoy and that give you pleasure, going places, you know, like I always feel like a lot of these cards are calling us to go out into nature, right? And find pleasure in the beauty of nature. And by focusing on your pleasure, as well as we've got a deer here, which the message to me of the deer is to be gentle with ourselves and to be gentle with others. So if we can focus on tapping into that place of pleasure, right? Providing ourselves with pleasure this weekend, Scorpios, it's going to be a pathway that takes us up to a portal to a new experience, to a new place. And along the way, it's really important to be kind and gentle with yourself and with others. And what I'm getting here, like by focusing on pleasure and really on doing things or going places or being with people that provide you with pleasure, it's gonna build up this momentum. And there's going to be a lot of energy that allows you, if you can harness the energy, right? If you can get into that place of pleasure and gentleness and kindness with yourself, it's going to take you somewhere where, or the momentum is going to bring you somewhere where you can kind of step into this new experience. But the key here is what I'm trying to say here is to harness that energy, right? Because there is momentum building right now. And so by being in a place of pleasure and allowing yourself pleasure, right? Not working too hard, being gentle with yourself, taking it easy with yourself, finding opportunities to stop and appreciate and get into your joy and just enjoy your surroundings, enjoy people, enjoy places, things. It's going to allow you to harness that energy and to focus on what it is that you want to create. You know, harness that energy so that you can then utilize that energy and direct it towards some particular goal. Yeah. And, you know, perhaps this is speaking to some kind of relationship. Because the Two of Cups is a side message. So there's potential opportunity for love with somebody here. Maybe that's what the pleasure is speaking to, and kind of harnessing that energy within a partnership or developing a partnership. But it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be with another person. It can be love for yourself, right? So whatever resonates for you and makes sense for your life right now, Scorpio. Okay, that's what I've got for you. I hope you have a great weekend. Sagittarius, how are you doing? Let's see what messages we have for you this weekend. Uh-oh, what just happened? Oh, okay. The other day I stopped the recording accidentally, but not this time. And it's funny, I was just going to say it's 1:11 and then things went dark. I mean, 1 signify a new beginning, and 3 of them, you know, so perhaps you are at the beginning of something, right? A new phase, new chapter. Oh. All right, well, we're going to take both of these Saggies. We've got happiness and transformation. Which is interesting, given what I was just saying about the 1:11. These are 2 more beautiful cards. I love these cards. It's the Sacred Destiny deck, this Oracle deck. And this is the Everyday Witch Tarot. All right, we've got the 2 of Pentacles. Okay. So the message I'm getting here, let's start with the 2 Oracle cards. Aren't they beautiful? Look at that. Actually, I'm going to put this one down and focus on these 2 first so you can really take these in. And there's some similar colors and some different colors, which is interesting, right? We've got the blues and the yellows, a little bit of the pinks. And interesting that the 1:11 came up, right? And 3 1 signifying like a really important beginning, right? And what do we think of with transformation? Well, we think of endings and beginnings, right? And so you are going through some kind of transformation here where you are embarking on this new beginning, and it's really one, this side. It's really one that is leading to your happiness, or it's based in your happiness, right? You are beginning this new chapter that is really all about being in a place of happiness, right? Transforming, changing your life, going through a big life change that's ultimately leading to happiness. And perhaps you're already in this place of happiness, right? You're going to be kind of experiencing the changes and the happiness all at once this weekend. Or, you know, that's kind of the space you're in right now. The key here, and wanted to say the key to your happiness is to be able to create balance in your life, right? And whenever we're closing something out and starting something new, it's rare that we can just shut the door on something and open the new door and just be done with the old and already be in the new, right? Transformation signifies that we are actually going through the transformation. So we're going through the ending while we are starting the beginning, right? And that's kind of the infinity symbol, right? So we're closing out the old while we're bringing in the new, right? It's kind of playing with those energies at the same time in a way that allows for balance and stability, right? So you're being called to, as you're going through this transformation, as you're embarking on this new chapter, this new beginning, to really focus on creating balance in your life, and holding what you're closing out in a way that you're closing it out while holding what you're bringing in, right? So being able to hold both those things and kind of play with the energy of both, kind of alternating your time and energy, and in a way that helps you create balance as you're moving into this new chapter, as you're closing out that old and bringing in that new. Do so from a place of balance. And that will only lead to your happiness. Yeah, and I love that the sun's up there too, which signifies happiness and joy. And the sun, oh no, it's all, I was going to show you again. And the sun's in this one too. That's the one I just showed you. All right, that's what I've got for you, Saggies. Hope that was helpful. Hope that was helpful. You know, another message that I'm getting, just complete side note. I don't know if you noticed that I was, you know, there was like a little bug and it was like a fruit fly. And so what that is making me think of is that, you know, sometimes when we have the fruits of our labor, right, when we are like harvesting and we have this abundance and we have these things that are beautiful, it can kind of attract some negative stuff too, right? So, you know, as you're closing out this chapter and you're kind of reflecting on, you know, all that you created, all that was part of this previous chapter, you know, some kind of gnawing thoughts could potentially come in that are distracting you, that are like trying to kind of get at those fruits and kind of diminish them a little bit. So just swat those away. Don't let those bother you. Don't let those infiltrate, is the message I'm getting. Itchy nose. Okay, Sagittarius, hope that was helpful. Have a great weekend. Capricorn, how are you doing? Let's see what messages we have for you this weekend. Okay, we start with wisdom, itchy nose. I love the colors in this card. Okay, and we have the Seven of Cups. Okay, the first message I'm getting from the wisdom card here, look how beautiful that is the wisdom that can be gained from diving deep, right? From going deep. And also, not only is there wisdom to be gained from going deep, but there is so much beauty in the depth, right? And it's striking, right? Like, look at these bright colors at the bottom of the ocean here, right? It's striking, right? So some striking, realizations is what I'm trying to get at. Could be had from taking a deep dive and diving deep, and especially, you know, water signifies our emotions. So kind of going deep and going beneath the emotions to kind of glean the wisdom that's there for us. And by doing so, we can apply this wisdom to any choices that we're trying to make, right? The Seven of Cups can speak to itchy nose, having a bunch of ideas or having a bunch of options or having a bunch of choices. Some say like being spoiled for choices. But because there are so many different options, so many different ideas, so many different paths we could travel, it can create confusion, right? And we can kind of get ourselves lost in all of these options, ideas, choices, such that it's challenging to know which one to pick and know which one is going to be right for us. So the key in that situation is to take the deep dive, right? And kind of allow yourself to go deep and tap into that inner wisdom and kind of find the key, find the beauty in that wisdom, find the, the striking realizations, right? Which is making me think of the fact that we've got Uranus conjunct the sun today, which is kind of speaks to like personal, like realizations about yourself, right? That are going to support you in making the right choices for yourself, and the best choices for yourself. Okay, that's what I've got for you, Capricorns. I hope that's helpful. Have a great weekend. Aquarius. Let's see what messages we've got for you. This one wants to come out. Okay, we've got change. All right, well, I'm going to take the one that's face up down here. Oi. Knight of Wands. We might have some additional kind of side messages here. So I'm just going to leave those out. But, okay. So we've got, as I said, change and the Knight of Wands. You can see here in this change card, aren't these cards beautiful? I love them. That this is like a merry-go-round horse that's freed itself somehow, or it's been freed from the merry-go-round, right? From the going round and round and round on the same path over and over and over again. And it's rising up. Right? It's been freed and it's rising up above the grind, right? The kind of cycles that keep repeating themselves, right? So that's what you're being encouraged to do here, is kind of get off, I want to say, the habit trail, right? Kind of kind of an ongoing cycle that maybe you've been feeling turned, you've been, I can't speak. Perhaps you're having a hard time articulating, or you will this weekend, I'm not sure, or finding your voice, but you're being encouraged to get off the merry-go-round, right? Break the cycle. That's what I'm trying to say. Woof. Okay, so it might not be easy. I mean, what I'm noticing here too is that cloud there. So it could be that your thoughts are a bit cloudy and you're not sure how to break the cycle. You're not sure what you need to do, but you're feeling the need, I want to say, for speed. You're feeling the need for change. You're feeling the need to break the cycle. You're feeling the need to kind of be freed from this merry-go-round that you've been feeling like you're on, or at least some of you. So how do you do that? The Knight of Wands is here to support you through their guidance, through their message. And the Knight of Wands is all about following their passion, right? The Knight of Wands is fiery, is passionate, is ready to go for what they want, right? So you're being encouraged to really tap into that passion and tap into that fire and let it move you, let it pull you out of the cycle that you've been in. Let it pull you out of the cycle, off of the merry-go-round, off of the habit trail, and let it invoke change in your life, right? Let it initiate some kind of change that's based on something that excites you, something that inspires you, some creative project, some passion, right? Tap into that fire and allow it to pull you out of this cycle and into change, right? And out of the clouds, right? Let it pull you above the clouds so you can see clearly. A little side note, cautionary note, is to be mindful of not getting too fiery, right? So it's interesting, right? We've got this hot air balloon, right? And you've got to be, I mean, I don't know how to drive, fly, navigate, manage a hot air balloon, but I know that there's like a fire involved, right? But you couldn't, you have to kind of have a nice even fire to create the heat to pull you up and out of the merry-go-round, right? So you can't be too fiery, right? You don't want to catch the balloon on fire, right? And then come plummeting to the earth and back into the into the merry-go-round and all broken, right? So really important, not to be impertinent, important to watch your fire, watch that flame, right? You know, like think about a campfire where you're keeping the flame going, right? You're keeping it going without getting too big or without burning out, okay? And that is really going to support these positive changes that you're making in your life. Ooh, I like that for you, Aquarius. All right, hope that's helpful. Have a great weekend. Yeah, I didn't end up using those other cards. I think the message was clear in the two. All right, Pisces. Thanks for your patience, Pisces. I mean, I guess you could have just clicked on the timestamp, but as always, last but not least, let's see what messages we have for Pisces. All right, we start with solitude. And, oh, we also have the Seven of Cups. Okay. So Pisces, look at how beautiful, I just love these cards. Look how beautiful that is. It looks like a photo, but it is not a photo. So talented. Okay, so I'm like mesmerized by just like so many parts of this card. I love the colors, like the deep blues there, and the greens, and the golds, and the reds. It's almost like, I wonder if it, I think like it's kind of like all of the colors of the chakras are kind of represented here in some way, it feels like. So what you're being called to do this weekend, Pisces, is to find opportunities for solitude, right? Find opportunities to just kind of be with yourself, even if it's a few minutes, right? It doesn't have to be hours or days or anything like that, but just to find opportunities to be with yourself in solitude and in a place of calm and peace, right? Where you're just allowing yourself to be, right? You don't, you can see that the waters are calm, so you're, allowing your emotions to be calm. The skies are calm, so allowing your mind to be calm. Yeah, and really like perhaps doing some kind of meditation to kind of rebalance your chakras and get your chakras all kind of balanced and in alignment. And I think that's really going to help you, especially with the Seven of Cups here. The Seven of Cups signifies having a lot of options, a lot of ideas, a lot of possibilities, a lot of choices, right? Kind of being spoiled for choices, or just kind of having a lot of things that we're contemplating, like I could do this or I could do that. And because we have so many different options, it can lead to confusion, right? And difficulty in actually choosing the best option or options for ourselves. So by finding those moments of solitude and peace and balance, and it's going to contribute to your clarity and your ability to make the best choices for yourself, right? To see clearly what choices, which options, which paths, which ideas, or which idea, path, option is going to be the right one for you, the best one for you moving forward. All right, that's what I've got for you, Pisces. Hope that was helpful. Have a great weekend. All right, that's what I've got for all of you. I hope any and all of the readings that you tuned into provided you with some insights and some guidance and some support. And I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I'm sending you lots of love, and I will be back It is a holiday weekend, so I will post the weekly reading for next week. I'll either do it Monday night or it'll be posted first thing Tuesday. So, yeah, sending you lots of love. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're in the United States, have a glorious holiday weekend. And yeah, give thanks to any veterans that you come across, or, you know, maybe in some way, if you can find time to extend some gratitude to the people that put their lives in danger uh, for the rest of us. That's what Memorial Day is supposed to be all about here in the U.S. So, yeah, that would be great, right? Share the love with them, and otherwise, take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.